The Karlovy Vary International Film Festival is the most important international film festival of Category A in the Central and Eastern Europe and the only film festival of Category A in the Czech Republic. The concept of the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival is based on the advantageous geopolitical location of the Czech Republic on the border between Eastern and Western Europe. The Karlovy Vary International Film Festival presents annually for the first time in the Czech Republic more than 200 new films from the whole world. This year the festival kicked off with the film Jane Eyre based on Charlotte Brontë's famous novel and directed by one of today's most respected young directors, Cary Fukunaga. The famous novel by Charlotte Brontë was first made into a film in 1910 in Italy. The latest version of the story about a poor governess was released this year, and before it reached the Czech theatres, it was introduced as the opening film of the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival by its director Cary Fukunaga and one of its stars Judi Dench, who will receive the Crystal Globe for the outstanding artistic contribution to world cinema. Jane Eyre is the most attractive novels for filmmakers. In the 101 years since it was written, there have been over 20 films and a series, a ballet, musical and even a zombie horror, all inspired by one of the most important works of English Romanticism. The club of leading ladies including Samantha Morton, Charlotte Gainsbourg or Marta Vankurova is now joined by the 21-year-old Australian Mia Wasikowska, considered by many critics to be the best Jane. Eyre, a proud girl with strong morals, finds herself in a haunted house in the middle of the English moors, inhabited by the handsome, brooding and mysterious Mr. Rochester, played by Michael Fassbender.
It must have been half dream, half reality. You transfixed me quite.
What am I to do then?
You rare, unearthly thing. I must have you for my own.
You're so little acquainted with men. Keep him at a distance. Miss Ingram's coming. She's a great favourite of his.
You're floating gently in the stream of life, unaware of the rocks ahead waiting to dash you to pieces.
Do you think that because I am poor, obscure, plain and little, that I am soulless and heartless?
Jane! Jane!
Everything seems unreal. You, sir, are most phantom-like of all.
Jane.
Apart from the popular movies like We Have a Pope, The Skin I Live In, A Letter to Elia Kazan, The Tree of Life, Once Upon a Time in Anatolia and Hanna, the festival brought in some more hits. Let's have a look at some of the movies that were screened on the opening day of the festival under various sections. Writer Ken Kesey, famous for his novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was one of those personalities in the 1960s who through their work combined the beatnik subculture with the hippie movement. In 1964, Ken Kesey, Neil Kazadi and other friends from Kesey's group of merry pranksters set out on a trip across the United States in an old psychedelic school bus. Their trip, taken on the wings of LSD and ample imagination, has been set down in the history of American pop culture as exemplifying a journey in which life closely intermingles with art. Academy Award-winning documentarist Alex Gibney joined up with director and editor Alison Elwood in order to creatively reconstruct the trip from Oregon to the New York World's Fair using Kesey's restored archive footage and recordings. But their movie isn't merely an original documentary compilation, it is also a statement on the world of the 1960s, still closely tied to today's American reality. The film had its European premiere at the festival screen under Another View.
It looked like a traveling pleasure palace. It was big and roomy and spacious, until we got all the people in it.
Yes, that's it, Commander, as usual.
We take turns riding shotgun with him. It was almost impossible for him to ever shut off.
All you can do is experience this thing.
Ken really believed that things could be changed. He saw himself as a kind of liberator.
People didn't think we were hippies or that we were drug freaks because it wasn't in the news yet.
The public always grinned when they saw that bus.
We are the Merry Band of Pranksters.
I'm flying down deserted street, wrapped in mother's wine and cheese at
Once Pandora's box is open, you can't regulate who gets to use the stuff that flies out of it. I thought this was as American as you could get because we were exploring a new territory.
What it meant was that everybody had to consider a new way for things to be.
Two men and two women gather around their father's deathbed. The four siblings meet at the home where they grew up and where several decades previously an attempt was made, drawing on the idealistic atmosphere of the 1960s to live in an alternative community. But the community broke up and the individual members went their separate ways. The older daughter, Kiara, is seeing her siblings for the first time in 23 years and everyone expects her presence to provoke unpleasant memories. No one wants to dredge up the past. Why soon after the sister was born did Kiara and her mother have to leave the community? Why did Kiara's father Hans never respond to her letters? Family secrets, the past and the present combine to create a tragic destiny of unfulfilled desire for an independent life. Although debut director Marie Crocier employs cliches typical of a family drama, she successfully moves beyond them through the depiction of a vivid and entirely authentic characters.
Ist das dein Vater?
Was offensichtlich nicht an die große Glocke gehängt hat.
Hast du vielleicht ein bisschen den Überblick verloren?
Wenn es so eine Art Führerschein für Eltern gäbe, dann hätte der Hans doch nie Kinder haben dürfen.
Wir machen können, was wir wollten.
Solange es mindestens 10 Meter von ihm entfernt war. Hat dir ehrlich nie geschrieben, ne? Nein.
Komplett da, wir brauchen die. Du kannst mich nicht allein lassen, du bist mein Bruder.
Ich bin nicht dein Bruder.
Sonst doch immer wurscht. Wir ziehen einfach alle wieder daher.
Dich nicht schlafen lässt, halt dich an deiner Liebe fest. Halt dich an
In his long-awaited movie, Danish documentarist and poet Jørgen Leith sets out on a journey through the memories of his erotic adventures, of his brief and long-term loves, of passionate looks, of beauty of female bodies and personalities. The elderly European artist travels far and wide looking for women who remind him of other women searching for his inner self, asking around the source of sensual attraction. His gift is an ability to fully experience and at the same time outwardly observe even the most subtle erotic situations. With age comes detachment, providing Leith with the opportunity to reflect on his erotic desires and fantasies. More than a decade in the making, Jørgen Leith has shot perhaps the most personal and provocative picture. This experimental documentary is a celebratory poetic statement on the beauty and attractiveness of women. It is a piece of cinematic self-reflection, a cinematic poem. The dark crime thriller is set in the world of Belgian hormone mafia, a group of people trading in hormone injections for bovine growth. Buff, 30-year-old Jackie, who helps his uncle run a cattle farm, receives a tempting offer to get involved in this profitable but illegal business. His partner in crime is to be a Flemish cattle trader, an untrustworthy creature who is behind the recent murder of a federal policeman. This story reveals Jackie's tragic past and the lone struggle he must wage with his own body. This ambitious debut from screenwriter and director Michael Aroscam begins as a mafia movie, then gradually transforms into a strong psychological drama, gaining much from a captivating camera work and the outstanding physical acting of Matthias Schoenaerts.
Kijk je die haast niet? Ze komen gewoon het weten. Kijk het, de fucking Limberg. Toeval of wat? Toeval. Je te jure, ils ont tué un putain de flic. C'est tous des mafieux, ces gros bourrins, tous des activistes du Vlaams Gezang.
De daders zullen moeten worden gezocht in het milieu van de hormonenmafia.
Ze hebben de dans kapot gemaakt. Vlekken, misschien als in door. Oh, nee. Nou. Niemand om me heen door. Ik ga nog in door. Ik. Ze achter me een ruk op de handen met de kruip. Nieuw leven. Ik zal als gekant als beest. Dat klopt niet, nee. Van allemaal geslacht zijn.
Zo te laat.
Evesen, a man in late middle age, has a dream about a beautiful young woman and it yanks him out of a stereotypical marital existence. Since he feels this isn't just a case of absurd daydreaming but a destined encounter, he goes to see a psychoanalyst. The latter merely views it as a sexual frustration of a man dissatisfied with his childless marriage to the aging Milada. Realizing he can't rely on anyone but himself, Evesen finds a way of entering his dream world where he starts to build a new, better existence. However, not only does his jealous wife interfere in his new life, but also a repulsive, overbearing old woman whom the analyst defines as a superego. In his icily sarcastic surrealist collage about the dark forces of the male subconscious, the director combines real actors with animated passages.
Je to světice! Rozumíš? Světice!
Než se nechat zabít, to radši nebudu spát.
That was this edition of All Lights to bring an insight of the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival. We'll be back shortly with some more films that will screen at the festival this year. Stay tuned.